Number 3 is owner operator. So we talked about owner operator, right? And that is something that you can bolt on to whether you buy a new franchise or you buy a resale franchise. So owner operator is pretty simple. You are the one operating the business on a day-to-day basis. You're pretty much full-time in the business. You may even still have a manager for the business, but if you're there putting in, 40 hours a week or so in your business, that is considered an owner-operator business. Oftentimes, they do not have a manager, and typically speaking, right, an owner-operated business is going to have higher profitability in general than if you ran semi-absentee. As an example, let's just throw out like hypothetical numbers, right? Let's say the business was producing $100,000 in total profits, but you're the one operating the business. Well, that's great. And then let's say you can hire a manager for $50,000 a year. Well, you hire the manager, pay them $50,000 a year. Now your profits in the business are only $50,000. At that point, this is where it just depends on what your goals are, what you're looking to accomplish, how many locations you plan on opening, how much access to capital you have. Because at that point, maybe you don't need 100 grand, right? Maybe you only need 50, and what you value is buying back your time with that manager so you can spend time with your family, so you can travel and be able to be more semi-absentee in the business, which we'll talk a little bit about that one next. But maybe if you're someone who's like, hey, I need to maximize as much money as I can out of this, I'm looking to replace my income. Well, you're going to put yourself in the best position by being an owner operator. Keep in mind, how you start is not necessarily how you finish. In our store in California, I started out as an owner operator, then promoted some people, got a store manager in place. Eventually, I became semi-absentee shortly before we moved to Florida. Now, once we moved to Florida, I was pretty much an absentee owner. I mean, I would have a call once a week with my store manager. I'd get some text here or there, but I had him running payroll. My employees were doing the cash drops. They were taking the money out of the safe, dropping it at the bank. There's protections and ways to look. I'm super OCD and paranoid. So if I can run a heavy cash business from across the country, you can do it too. There's ways to protect yourself and check your boxes here and there. So that's owner operator. The next one is semi-absentee, which we just talked about. Semi-absentee is basically when you spend some time in the business, but you probably have a manager. You're not full time in the business, right? And so a few months after opening our store, we still lived in California. At that point, I had promoted the manager. We had an assistant manager. They had been trained up on how to do the main functions and roles of our location, doing inventory. I think I was still doing orders at that point, but there was a lot of stuff that I didn't need to do. I didn't need to be on the line making juice and smoothies, etc. So at that point, maybe I would pop in the store for a few hours a day, or if I saw they were busy and needed help, or I'd just sit in the back and get some work done for a little bit. But I didn't need to be there every day and all day actually working in the business, right? And your goal as an owner, eventually you want to get to a place where you're working on the business, not in the business, right? If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.